Sports Talk with the Cowboy.
Welcome and thanks for riding with the Cowboy. Congratulations to the Bucs on a wonderful victory of the Philadelphia Eagles Sunday. Tremendous game, great game, bounce back game from the Denver Broncos debacle a week before. They all, leaving the field against the Broncos, said they knew that they didn't come out with their best effort, but they did come out with their best effort Sunday. And congratulations on a tremendous victory over the Philadelphia Eagles. And they absolutely dominated the game from start to finish. We're up to 24-0 ahead at one point. Just absolutely both sides of the ball. The defense got 6 sacks. They tripled what they've had in the season. They had 2 sacks coming into the game. They got 6 in one game against the Philadelphia Eagles. It was tremendous play on both sides of the ball. Vita Vea got in and played most of the game for us. And it was just a tremendous game. We did not let them out of our sights. We drove the first kickoff to a touchdown and kept the gas on for the rest of the game. By the second half, they were wore down to a point where they were leaving the field from heat frustration. It was just too hot. We were moving the ball on the ground and in the air. Our defense was swarming. Todd Bowles and his staff dialed up a perfect defense. They were all over on top of Hurt, shut down the run, and the offensive pass receivers were ineffective of the Eagles all day long. Complete and total domination by the Buccaneers. So congratulations to the coaching staff, each and every player. I'd like to call out Logan Hall. We've said on this program about Logan Hall's progress with the Buccaneers. Well, he got a sack the other day, so congratulations to you, Logan Hall. Anthony Nelson, Levante David. I'm missing a few more that got sacks, but they were 3 of the sacks that we got Sunday. Now, we've got a big game coming up tomorrow night up in Atlanta against our division foe, the Atlanta Falcons. It'll be our first division game of this season, and it'll be a big game. We're going to go up there and see what we can do. They're 2-2. We're 3-1. They know us. We know them. Many predicted them to win the division, so we need to just put our eyes square on the game on Thursday night. It's going to be, we have not many serious injuries to report that we didn't know about. Luke Geinecke's still out at right tackle. We still have Anthony Winfield out at safety. We have Cansey still out at defensive end on the line. But other than them 3 players, which are big 3, we move on to take the Falcons. As far as any injuries on the Falcons side of the ball, I don't know of any major injuries on their side of the ball. Look for a tough division game, division matchup tomorrow night on Channel 13 Fox. We've got a good game coming up. We can win. I feel confident in this team, and I hope that they come out and play like they did at the Eagles and not like they did with the Broncos. But we'll soon see. Here on the program last week, we said you would see the Bucs against the Eagles, what team would show up within the first few minutes of the game. Well, it came to pass Sunday when the Bucs took the first time they touched the ball, the opening kickoff, down the field, scored a touchdown. There you go. So we'll hope to see that kind of morale and esprit de corps up in Atlanta, and we want to go up there and beat a division foe in a tremendous Thursday night matchup, which we all can see on Fox, Channel 13, by antenna or by streaming or by your cable provider. And no excuses whether it wasn't being covered. It will be covered. We'll go on to some more games over this last weekend in NFL. The Miami Dolphins, our counterpart to the south, was beaten by the Tennessee Titans. And Mason Rudolph, Tyron Huntley, as you know, came in and was the quarterback for the Dolphins. He didn't look comfortable. The offense looked terrible, and the Dolphins were booed on and off of the field all night long by their home fans, and were soundly beaten by a team, the Tennessee Titans, who had not won a game all year long. So that was something that went on down here. The Jacksonville Jaguars lost the game to the Texans, but played better than they played all year long. They still don't have their first victory. And those are the 3 teams here in Florida we concentrate most of our time on until the playoffs and standings get a little bit higher on. And we're going to move on now to college football. We're going to talk about the main college game of last week was Georgia and Alabama, and a tremendous game it was. Alabama controlled most of the game until nearing the end when Georgia made a vibrant comeback and took the lead, and Alabama soundly took back the lead and won the game. It was well what its billing was up to. Alabama versus Georgia. All that they said it was, it was. All the excitement, all the drama, all the entertainment, it all came to pass in that Alabama-Georgia game this week, which Alabama won. And it'll be one for the annals because of how Georgia returned fire at the end and caught them and actually took the lead. A great game there. No other major upset except that Ole Miss was beaten by Kentucky. Ole Miss was in the top 10. I think they were 6th in the poll, top 10 poll. Were beaten by Kentucky. So apparently, of course, they'll be dropping out of that 6th spot and out of that top 10. In action as far as Florida State, they lost. As far as University of Florida, they lost. As far as University of Central Florida, Orlando, they lost. And the University of South Florida in Tampa, they lost. So as it goes, we didn't have a very good week. But there is one grain of victory. The University of Miami won. Okay, so the Hurricanes won and everybody I just mentioned lost. That's kind of the rundown that we got going on right now in college football. Again, there's a lot more games. 54 of them played every Saturday and Friday. And so we'll keep you posted as it progresses closer to the 12-team playoffs, which has never been done before. 12 playoff teams, and we're nearing to the end. And so keep your eyes on college football. As far as the Tampa Bay Rays, they ended their season with a defeat by the Boston Red Sox. They were 2 games under 500 this year, the first time under 500 for about 12 years, and the first time out of the playoffs in about 5 years. Their team never looked that well all year long, and they just didn't have any good hitting, and they didn't have any consistency, and it wound up costing them the ability to go on to postseason. We're looking for great things next year with the Tampa Bay Rays. We've got all of our pitchers coming back, a lot of them on ACL, Tommy John surgeries, have even been in the rotation the last month of the season, and we're looking good. Going to try to get them built up through the spring and come out with some good pitchers. And if Eric Norander and Stu Sandberg decide to go out and get some free agent hitters, that would increase our chances of being a playoff contender. We need some offensive bats. When we do get a couple runners on base, we can't leave them stranded. We've got another year coming next year with a bright future with our pitchers, and we hope the best for the Rays in their off season. And congratulations to getting out of the season and getting a lot of young players from Durham up to see what they look like. So the next year they were auditioning whether they could make the team. Junior Caminero and some other ones come to mind. And so we're going to see what happens next year. For now, we're going into the Major League Baseball playoffs and the wild card round. And today, American League action, the Houston Astros against the Detroit Tigers. The Tigers won the game, and that was the best out of 2 out of 3. In these wild card rounds in baseball. Now, most people don't realize it's got down to 3 games in the wild card round. So you win 2 out of the 3 games, you're moving on out of the wild card round. The Detroit Tigers, the youngest team in Major League Baseball, won their series against Houston before the taping of this show just minutes. The Detroit Tigers now will move on against the Cleveland Guardians, and the Kansas City Royals and the Baltimore Orioles will play to see who plays the Yankees in the division round. So tremendous action in baseball going on tonight. About an hour after this show is quit taping, there will be the Mets and the Milwaukee Brewers in the National League wild card. See how that goes and see what teams get changed by the time this show comes back to air next week. So as far as the Lightning's concerned, preseason hockey is underway. We had a game against the Florida Panthers, the current world champions, current Stanley Cup holders, down in Miami, lost 4-3. It's only preseason, but they're out on the ice. So it won't be very long, a few more weeks, and our Tampa Bay Lightning will be taking up their quest for Lord Stanley's Cup and then this year's NHL season. Now, I'd like to go to my questions, and tonight the first question is from Ralph, and Ralph wanted to know what I thought about Baker Mayfield's performance on Sunday. Ralph, I thought he did a great job last week. He moved around the pocket. His pocket awareness was good, knowing anybody getting around him. He hit his receivers. He ran when he had to. He called the audibles on the line when the linebackers got a place to let the running backs hit the holes. He looked good under center, over 347 yards, 3 touchdowns. That pretty much says it, Ralph. Great game by Baker. Absolutely tremendous game. Tremendous game for the whole team. Thank you for your question, Ralph, and God bless you. The next question is from Elizabeth. And Elizabeth wanted to know what I thought about the death of the legend Pete Rose. Elizabeth, Pete Rose was one of the greatest baseball players that ever played in this league. He was a great player. He was a great role model for many people in this country. I looked up to Pete Rose as a great baseball player on the base paths, defensively, offensively, even as a manager and a coach. We all know the story of Pete Rose, and we all know that he was banned from baseball. He was given a lifetime ban not to go into the Hall of Fame. And Elizabeth, I, like a lot of fans, think that that sentence of lifetime ban meant lifetime, and he has passed to the heavens now, to the baseball field up there. And I think the Major League Baseball and the fans like you, in your letter that you wrote to this show, should stand up to Major League Baseball and say, look, he's gone. His lifetime ban's over. Okay? Let's put him in the Hall where he belongs as the greatest hitter that's ever played the game. Let's go ahead and put him in the Hall. And I think that's going to happen. So it's a great loss for us to have lost Pete Rose. And I join in your sorrow and hope here at Sports Talk with the Kowboy that Major League Baseball, the lifetime ban, since he's not alive, goes into effect. You want to put a little asterisk beside his name in the Hall of Fame, that's your business. But when the man's got more hits than anybody in that Hall of Fame, be good that you put him in there. I think it's about time we do, and I think this is the perfect time to kind of honor his memory as a baseball player. His personal life is his business. God bless you for your question, and thank you. And the next one is from Tom, and Tom wanted to know what I thought about the Tampa Bay Rays' chances next year's baseball season. And Tom, I think it's really good. We have 3 of our starters that was out with ACL and Tommy Johns that are back. Sugar Shane McClanahan will be back next year. Shane Boz has been back. Rasmussen has been back. Springer has been back. This was our rotation before this season because they were all out, and they are back by the end of the year. So, Tom, I believe that rotation will be good next year, at least 3 to 4 or 5 good starting pitchers. We might have 6 or 7 starting pitchers on that Tampa Bay Ray team. And as you know, pitching is baseball, but you got to have some hitting. So in free agency this year, we need to go out and get a 300-plus hitter, a couple of them, put them in that lineup, and hope they stay not injured, and get some run generation. And we'll have a good team next year, Tom. Mark my words, the Rays will be good next year if they can do some things like that. Their pitching is A-OK. God bless you, Tom. Thank you for your question. DJX, what you got for me tonight?
Well, Cowboy, you know what it is. Let's get right off into it, buddy. All right. Falcons running back Robinson. Speed and elusiveness may make him a formidable opponent, and Buccaneers' run defense will need to be on point. Will the Buccaneers' defense be able to contain Falcons' running back?
Some they will be. I don't want to say for good. He is a good and elusive back. Mm-hmm. Our defensive line, as we just said about Clancy being out, is not what it should be. And our linebacker, which our Dennis or one of our linebackers is out now. But I think we can stop him. I think we have shown we can stop. We stopped Barkley last week from the Eagles. We can stop him, but he's the kind of a back that if you give him that one time, he'll make you pay. Mm-hmm. They're gonna have their A game, like you said.
All right. Well, Buccaneers passing attack could be crucial in exploiting any weakness in the Falcons' defensive backfield. How will the Buccaneers receiving corps, led by Chris Godwin and Mike Evans, match up against Falcons secondary?
It's going to be a tough gig back there because they've got good safeties, 2 of them, and they've got a good cornerback that's going to be following Mike Evans. So what we're going to do is we're going to say Mike Evans is going to be taking as much out of the game as possible. So it's going to be a Shepard, and it's going to be Chris Godwin. It's going to be your tight ends and your backs out of the backfield that are going to undercut that defense. They have 2 good safeties, and they've got 1 good cornerback. Good. They got Justin Simmons from the Denver Broncos. He's good. And they had a good safety. and they're going to keep good tabs on Evans. They're going to try to stop Evans and take him out of the game, just erase him, and then put these other wide receivers in play. I think we'll be successful because we'll start undercutting them with Sterling Shepard and Chris Godwin in the slants and in the short passing game, and move that safety and some of that cornerback coverage up near the line. And when that happens, Mike will be clear, and Mike will be on the way to the goal line. So it's going to be tough.
Yeah.
And they're a formidable opponent back there. As good a secondary as we faced. As good a secondary, really. They got a good secondary there in Atlanta.
Right. All right. Falcons quarterback Ritter's mobility and arm strength could pose a challenge for the Buccaneers defense. Can the Falcons quarterback Desmond Ridder outperform Buccaneers quarterback Baker Mayfield?
Well,
that's my question.
Ritter's gone, so we got Cousins. Can Cousins? I don't think so. I think he's good. He's a good quarterback. Cousins is a good quarterback. But Baker's been on a good, steady streak of 300, 350-yard games, except for the game against Denver.
Yeah.
So, I think we can. It's going to be a tough game. I don't think it's going to be high scoring like the Eagles. They know us too good. We know them too good. It's going to be a slugfest. It's going to be a field goal. It's going to be a touchdown. It's going to be an interception, a fumble, something. It's not going to be a runaway game like we seen the other day with the Eagles who were just left for the Vultures by halftime. It's not going to be that, I don't think. It's going to be a tough game. Raheem Morris, ex-Buck coach, ex-Buccaneer football coach, last head coaching job and only one he's ever had, fired from the Bucks. And I know he has not ever forgot it after all these years. He'll be playing a team that gave him his first chance as a defensive coordinator. And Raheem Morris will be playing his first team to ever give him a head coaching job, making him the youngest head coach in football. And after 3 years with the Buccaneers with hardly no talent whatsoever, he did pull out a 10-6 season during that three-year stint. Then he was fired, of course, and he had to move back through the defensive coordinator route, offensive line coach, the whole drill like they do when they retread these head coaches. 24 years later, he wound up the head coach of the Atlanta Falcons. So as his team, only team he's ever head coached, the Bucks run on the field, I'm sure there'll be memories of his time at One Buck Place.
Well, that's what I got for you tonight, Cowboy.
God bless you, DJ.
God bless you, too.
Listen, ladies and gentlemen, let's pray for all those people affected by this tremendous Helene hurricane who absolutely biblically destroyed much of North Carolina, Georgia, Tennessee, South Carolina, and Florida. This hurricane was of biblical proportion. We've lost 180 people so far, with over 500 of them still unaccounted for. That number will go well over 350 people, I'm sure, that has perished from this storm. It was a tremendous, deadly storm. If there's anything you can do for these people, please do it. Pray for them. That's the most important thing. Pray for the people up there that are trying to volunteer their time and effort to help our fellow Americans through this tragedy, the hurricane. God bless you. Until next show, Cowboy out.
Have you ever had a dream that you want him to do you so much you could do anything?